Hello, and welcome to the weekly energy update for the week of December 7th, 2025. I'm Renee Spears, a spirit guide channeler and spiritual mentor, and I'm coming to you from beautiful Bozeman, Montana. Every Sunday, I share the energy for the week ahead, and I also infuse the show with some positive vibes, so you get a little positive energy boost just for listening. This month has that feeling of the moment right before everything shifts. There's this sense that something bigger is unfolding, like we're being prepped for a new chapter. December feels a little like having one foot in the old world and one foot in the new. Things are changing, shifting, and moving under the surface, and we can feel it. And the shifting starts really amping up this week on Wednesday the 10th, when Neptune, who has been retrograde since July, finally goes direct. Neptune goes retrograde every year, so that's not really that big of a deal. The big deal is that Neptune stations direct in Pisces for the last time in our lifetimes. And it's joining Saturn, which also just went direct in Pisces a couple weeks ago. So Neptune has been in Pisces for the past 13 years, and it's leaving next month going into Aries. So that cycle's ending. And since Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, we're finishing up the 165-year cycle that it's taken for Neptune to move through all of the signs. And Neptune stations direct at 29 degrees of Pisces, the very last degree of Pisces in the entire zodiac. This is literally the last degree of the last sign. And it's called the anaretic degree, or the degree of fate. So when a planet is at the final degree of a sign, the energy is especially powerful. The 29th degree of each sign always signals that we're at a turning point, a time of accelerated change and evolution. And in Pisces, this is even more the case. This is completion energy and the final chapter of a massive soul cycle. So not only is Neptune at the final degree of Pisces, Saturn is too. And they're moving together on this final degree for the next few weeks. So the energy and change that we feel building is in a big part thanks to these two being at this degree together. This powerful energy is building and building toward what astrologers are calling the big one. So the big one is the Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees of Aries, which happens in February. And this is when life as we know it changes. It's a massive shift, and it's the beginning of a whole new spiritual era. So we'll definitely be talking more about this over the next few months because it affects everything in our lives. So Neptune going direct this week is preparing us for the next chapter. And we've talked about this being the end of a 9-year numerology cycle we've been in, but it's also the end of the 13-year chapter of Neptune in Pisces, the 30 years it's taken Saturn to go through all the signs, and the long 165-year journey of Neptune through all the signs. So with all this massive ending energy swirling around, our emotions could be all over the place. You might feel excited about what's next, maybe a little uneasy or some anxiety about what's coming or what we don't know, or even some grief or melancholy about what's wrapping up. It's totally normal to feel a mix of all of it. And we don't know what's coming next. We don't yet know what life will bring. This year, things have been coming to an end, and there's some space in our lives right now. And often we are so used to every second of our days being busy and fully scheduled that it may be a little uncomfortable to have some space. But resist the urge to immediately fill any empty space. We can get so impatient about the future, like wanting to know what's next and rushing toward it, but it's important to allow the process of transformation to unfold on its own. Be really careful about committing to anything right now. Unless something feels really genuinely deeply right, give yourself a little time and space and wait till you're sure. So Neptune in Pisces teaches us to live in a surrendered state without clinging or controlling. So we can trust that what needs to be released and left behind will be. Our job is to stay in this void of nothingness, of not knowing, without trying to immediately fill it with another identity, another goal, another ambition, or another story. So right now, our soul is drawing up new blueprints for what's next, and we don't want to interrupt that process. There's no pressure to have anything figured out, so this month, don't force anything. Don't overthink. Don't make decisions just because they make sense. Just follow your intuition and let life unfold. So like I said, this is the last month in our lifetime that Neptune will be in Pisces and will be in this energy. So instead of fighting it, just surrender, enjoy life, and allow the universe to do its thing and work out all the details for us. Also this week on Thursday the 11th, Mercury moves into Sagittarius, joining the Sun and Mars that are also in this joyful, optimistic, playful Sag energy right now. So things will feel brighter and more fun. And it's a really great time to try new things and learn new things. So nothing is in blood right now, so we can try a bunch of new things to see what we like. We're definitely changing, so we might as well have fun with it. So listen to some new music. Try some new recipes. Switch up your daily routine. Do some art projects just for the fun of it. So this is a gentle energy to help us get out of our comfort zones and see how much more there is to life. Also, on the 11th, Mercury is opposing Uranus for the third time. And this opposition is particularly important because it's the last in a series of 3. So it's going to come with some sort of conclusion or breakthrough. And the whole story started back at the end of October, when Mercury and Uranus met for the first time. The second hit coincided with the new moon in Scorpio that was in November. And now we reach the third and final chapter, where the plot twist starts finally making sense. So pay attention to anything that started back then at the end of October and is now coming full circle. And given Mercury is direct now, we can expect some surprising, and maybe not that surprising, news, insights, or realizations. So from here on out, there's really no turning back, my friends. With Neptune going direct and teaming up with Saturn and Pisces this week, the energy starts gaining momentum and the future is getting closer and closer. The question is, how do you want to move forward? Do you want to go kicking and screaming into the future? Or do you want to surrender, trust that something wonderful is coming, and have fun with it? And remember, you don't have to have it all figured out. You're not supposed to. Just stay present and open to the magic that's already unfolding. This is one of those rare moments where life is reorganizing itself in our favor, even if we can't see the full picture yet. So let yourself enjoy this weird, wonderful in-between space we're in. And as I mentioned earlier, once Neptune and Saturn meet in Aries for the big one in February, we step into an entirely new spiritual era. Your intuition and psychic abilities will amp up, and our collective focus shifts towards being instead of doing. Inner peace, spiritual connection, and trust become our priorities. And because 2026 is such a powerful year for deepening our spirituality, my 2026 annual passes are now on sale. There are 2 levels this year. The full annual pass includes 6 hours of sessions, which mean you can pop in once a month for a 30-minute session, plus 1 free class or wisdom circle, 50% off all other classes, free spiritual summer school, and a 30-minute gift certificate you can use for yourself or share it with your friend. All of that for $800. There's also a mini pass with 3 hours of sessions, a free class or circle, and 50% off all other classes for only $400. So if you plan on taking even 1 class next year, the pass more than pays for itself. And even if you aren't interested in classes, it's just a great deal just for all of the sessions. And there's a fun add-on this year. For just $200 more, you can get the 2026 Cosmic Clarity Bundle, which is an hour human design reading with Candy Duns and an hour astrology reading with Deborah Norton. So you can find all the details through the link in the show notes or on my website, Abundology.com. So as always, thank you for listening and passing the podcast on to your friends. Last night was the Christmas stroll in Bozeman, so Main Street was closed and there was caroling and food and hot cocoa and Santa and a random hot air balloon. It was just so much fun. Being in Bozeman in December is like living in a Hallmark movie. So after last night, I'm just going to take it easy today. So have a great week, everyone, and I'll talk to you again next week.